Hey guys, Bridget here. In this video, we're going to talk about micro interactions and some of those more subtle UX flows that you encounter as a designer more often than not, especially if you're working on web apps and mobile apps. And I see in particular junior designers failing at capturing some of the details. So I hope in this video to shed light on some of these areas and how you can improve and especially have a checklist that you can reference to whenever you're creating these flows so that you're not missing out on the details because as the say goes, the devil truly is in the details, especially in the world of UI UX design. So over here I have a flow that I was working on for a client, and this flow is all about utilizing these micro interactions, these small popovers, models, and elements that aren't full-fledged pages. And one of the things that you always want to keep in mind is to have an overview of the entire flow from a high level even before you actually get started with the design, because one of the issues is that if you get stuck within figuring out the perfect color design and generally speaking the layout, all those design visual design elements, is easy to miss the details in the UX part of things, and by that I mean the structure as a whole. So what I like to do is to essentially take a step back and just note down on a notepad or in a FigJam what are the steps that are needed in order to fulfill this UX flow. So this can be a single word or even a word with a brief sentence description below, just to kind of understand what the high level is going to look like. And then ideally either you approve that with a client or just internally if it's just you. And after that you can actually go and work on the different steps needed in order to fulfill that micro interaction. So one of the things which is really useful is this acronym CRUD, which I can't remember exactly who created this acronym. Definitely props because I used it and I know many designers using it, and I highly recommend you to check out this blog post, which is from Tanya Anokina, which kind of gives you a high-level overview of what CRUD is about. It's not a recent article, but the same principle applies year after year in the same way, so it's an evergreen concept. And essentially it stands for create, read, update, and delete. So whenever you're creating micro interactions and UX flows, especially in web apps or mobile apps, there's going to be this recurring pattern where you're going to want to give the user the ability to create something, to edit something, to update it, and to delete it. So actually the second one was read, I think I said edit. So a bit of a blooper over there, but you get the point. And overall this is something which is always a good question to ask yourself. Is the CRUD principle applying in the specific UX flow that I'm building? And if it is, am I checking all of the boxes of this specific UX flow? So this would be one of the things that I highly recommend you to learn about and investigate and really take action upon whenever you see a UX flow that fits those criteria. Now on top of that, these days we have this amazing tool which you might as well know, which is called ChatGPT. And one of the awesome things about ChatGPT is that it now can read the images. So I can actually take a screenshot of what I'm creating. I can drop it into ChatGPT, and then I can explain to ChatGPT what is the context. I can even write something around the lines of how I was having this discussion with the client about this UX flow, and we were encountering this specific roadblock which is preventing us to achieve the result that we're looking for. And what we're really looking forward to is to find a way to solve X. And ChatGPT is so good these days that it can actually give you not only one but multiple options that are going to help you solve that specific UX issue. Now, that being said, it's not going to solve it visually for you. It's not just going to magically hop into Figma and change the layout and edit the input fields synced with the design system. We're not at that stage. So what it can actually do is to provide you with the logic. So it's going to give you text and even potentially wireframes in the forms of text blocks that you can essentially kind of understand where it's going from there, and then you can apply the logic into your Figma project or whatever software that you're utilizing. So this is something that it's really helpful, and it's going to not only help you solve problems, but another thing that you can do with ChatGPT is to kind of like have a checkbox and be sure that you're filling all of the holes, in the sense that you can ask ChatGPT what are the interactions that you're missing in a specific UI UX flow. So for example, if you're missing one of the CRUD elements, it can help you find that out. But even more than that, if you're dealing with specific UX scenarios and interactions, it can help you be much more detailed about some custom scenarios. So I'm probably going to create a video on this. I've already shot several videos on ChatGPT and its using UI UX design, so feel free to check them out in the other videos in the channel. But that pretty much covers all of the main things that you want to know from a high level. We're going to dive deep into use case scenarios and live demos. And also one more thing that I want you to simply be aware of from again, from a high level, is the fact that you can also create some really nice animations these days utilizing CSS, and you don't need to be a CSS wizard in order to create the actual code. There's going to be tools that are enabling you to, and also frameworks like Framer Motion, which are going to help you integrate the animations and these interactive elements in a way which is very lightweight on the web. Because one of the problems whenever you're adding animations and interactions on a website is that it usually, especially in the past, the methods of implementation would make the site slower. So these days we actually have a lot of ways to work in a much more agile way. So that is actually going to be a topic for a later discussion that we're going to have. I hope this video was helpful, and if you have any specific questions about this topic, feel free to leave them in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the very next video.